My beloved child, stop everything for a moment. Slow your breath. Because this is not random. You did not find this message. This message found you. Something unseen has been holding this moment back. Not because you were unworthy, but because you were not ready. Now you are. And that is why your heart feels heavy already. There is a truth moving toward you. A truth that has been circling your life quietly. Watching. Waiting. You trusted deeply. You trusted without suspicion. You trusted with innocence. That innocence protected you once. But today, it becomes the reason this must be revealed. Someone close smiled at you while carrying another face. Someone you defended when doubts appeared. Someone you would never suspect. That is why this message feels urgent. That is why time feels tight. Because once awareness arrives, nothing stays the same. Your life has been paused at a doorway. Behind that door is clarity. And clarity always burns illusions. That burning is what you feel now. Not fear. Recognition. Your soul already knows what your mind avoided. You ignored signs because love is kind. Because loyalty is your nature. Because you believe people mean what they say. But some people mean what they hide. They borrowed your trust as cover. They moved quietly behind your back. Not loudly. Not aggressively. Carefully. Strategically. So you would never question them. You were meant to see this today. Not yesterday. Not tomorrow. Today. Because what they set in motion has reached its final stage. And silence would now cost you more than truth. My beloved child. Listen closely. This is not about betrayal alone. It is about timing. There was a season when knowing too early would have broken you. So the truth was restrained. Hidden in plain sight. Disguised as normal behavior. As excuses. As coincidences. You noticed discomfort but talked yourself out of it. You felt distance but blamed yourself. You sensed energy shift but chose peace over questions. That choice kept you safe then. But that season is over. Because the person you trust most crossed a line they believed you would never see. They assumed your kindness was blindness. They mistook patience for weakness. They calculated in silence. Every smile rehearsed. Every word measured. They shared information that was never theirs to share. They made decisions involving you without your consent. They benefited from your absence of doubt. And while you were protecting them, they were protecting themselves. Not once did they consider the cost to you. That is the part that matters. Not what they did, but why they felt safe doing it. They believed you would never look behind the curtain. They believed you would always choose harmony. They were wrong. Because you are not here by accident. This moment is permission. Permission to finally see clearly. Permission to stop minimizing your intuition. Permission to stop carrying confusion that was never yours. What you are about to understand will not destroy you. It will free you. But first, it will sting. My beloved child. Stay with me. Do not rush ahead. Because the next realization changes how you move forward. Once this message fades, you will not be able to unsee what aligns. Conversations will replay in your mind with new meaning. Small details will suddenly connect. You will realize how often you were redirected. How often your voice was softened. How often your instincts were dismissed. This was not accidental. It was intentional. And yet, this is not a punishment. It is protection arriving late, but right on time. You are not being exposed to hurt you. You are being prepared to step out of a loop. A loop that kept repeating lessons you already mastered. What comes next requires clarity. Strength without illusion. Love without compromise. That cannot happen while you are surrounded by hidden agendas. This message appears intense because it must cut through comfort. Comfort was keeping you still. Stillness was benefiting someone else. Not you. When this moment passes, something will shift internally. You will feel lighter and heavier at the same time. That is growth. Do not ignore what resonates. Do not dismiss what tightens your chest. That is awareness anchoring itself. You are not losing anyone important. You are losing deception. And that loss is the beginning of power. My beloved child. Something inside you has already shifted. You may not have words for it yet. But your inner world is quieter than before. That is because denial just loosened its grip. Truth does not always arrive loudly. Sometimes it arrives as relief mixed with pain. You are feeling both. And that is normal. Because when something hidden is revealed, the mind resists but the soul exhales. You are not imagining things anymore. You were never imagining them. Those pauses in conversations. Those sudden changes in tone. Those moments when you felt unseen. They were signals. Not coincidences. You questioned yourself instead. You asked what you did wrong. You tried harder. You gave more. And while you were doing that, someone close was taking advantage of your silence. They studied your patterns. They learned when you stay quiet. They learned when you forgive quickly. They learned how far they could go without consequence. That knowledge made them bold. And boldness always leaves footprints. That is why this message reaches you now. Because their confidence has grown careless. And carelessness exposes truth. My beloved child. You must understand this clearly. This is not about revenge. This is not about confrontation. This is about awareness. The most powerful shift happens internally. When you stop offering access where respect is missing. The person you trusted assumed your heart had no boundaries. They were wrong. You had boundaries. You just never had to use them before. Because you believed mutual respect was natural. But not everyone operates from the same depth. Some people operate from opportunity. They move where they can gain. They stay where they can control perception. They speak softly while acting sharply. And when questioned, they redirect. You notice that redirection. Every time a conversation ended with confusion instead of clarity. Every time your concerns were minimized. Every time responsibility shifted back onto you. Those were not misunderstandings. They were tactics. Subtle ones. Designed to make you doubt your own clarity. But clarity always returns. It never disappears. It waits. And today, it speaks louder than doubt. You are not wrong for trusting. Trust is your strength. But discernment is now joining it. That combination changes everything. My beloved child. What happens next is crucial. Not externally. Internally. You do not need to act immediately. You do not need to explain yourself. You do not need to prove anything. The shift has already begun. Your energy will speak before your words do. They will feel distance and not understand why. They will sense change and feel unsettled. Because people who benefit from your unawareness fear your awakening. Silence will start revealing more than questions ever did. Watch carefully. Notice who becomes uncomfortable with your calm. Notice who pressures you to return to the old version of yourself. The version that overlooked. The version that absorbed. The version that stayed quiet for peace. That version served its purpose. But it is not who you are becoming. You are stepping into clarity without aggression. Strength without noise. Boundaries without guilt. And once you see someone clearly, they lose power over you. This message does not vanish because it is dramatic. It vanishes because once it settles, you will no longer need it. You will move differently. You will listen differently. And most importantly, you will trust yourself again. That is the secret they never expected you to reclaim. Something unseen is testing you right now. Not loudly. Not dramatically. Quietly. Through small moments. Through reactions. Through who notices your silence. And who suddenly needs your attention. My beloved child. This phase is about observation. Because once awareness awakens, behavior changes around you. The person who acted freely before will feel watched. Not by you. By truth. They will become restless. They may over-explain. Or act unusually kind. Or subtly provoke emotion from you. Anything to regain control. Because control was never about power. It was about predictability. They knew how you responded. They knew your forgiveness cycle. They knew when you would stay quiet. Now that pattern is breaking. And broken patterns unsettle those who depended on them. You might feel an urge to confront. To ask questions. To demand clarity. Pause. Clarity is already arriving. And confrontation too early feeds denial. What you are gaining now is confirmation. Confirmation does not come from words. It comes from consistency. Watch who becomes defensive without accusation. Watch who shifts blame without being asked. Watch who suddenly doubts your memory. These reactions reveal more than confessions ever could. You are not meant to fight. You are meant to see. Seeing ends manipulation. Because manipulation survives only in confusion. And confusion no longer lives here. My beloved child. There is something deeper you must understand. This situation did not start recently. It started the moment you were underestimated. The moment your kindness was misread. The moment your patience was assumed endless. Some people do not betray suddenly. They drift into it slowly. By justifying small actions. By convincing themselves it is harmless. By telling themselves you would not mind. Or would never know. That self-deception grows. Until lines disappear. And behavior becomes bold. That is why they look calm on the surface. Because they normalized what they did. But deep inside, they are alert. Listening for shifts. Reading your tone. Watching your pauses. They sense that something has changed. They do not know what. But they feel it. Because your energy no longer feeds the dynamic they relied on. You are not colder. You are clearer. And clarity feels threatening to those who benefited from fog. Do not feel guilty for changing. Growth always feels uncomfortable to those who preferred your old limits. You are not becoming distant. You are becoming defined. Defined people cannot be quietly crossed. They notice. They remember. They choose differently. And that is what is happening now. My beloved child. This is the moment to reclaim inner authority. Not by announcing it, but by embodying it. You will speak less. And observe more. You will respond slower. And feel stronger. You will stop filling silence. And let others reveal themselves. This stage is delicate. Because awareness is still settling. Do not rush decisions. Let patterns repeat. Because repetition removes doubt. You will soon realize that trust does not mean access. And loyalty does not mean tolerance. These realizations mature quietly. They do not shout. They anchor. Once anchored, you will no longer seek validation for what you feel. You will know. And knowing brings calm. That calm will confuse those who expected reaction. They may attempt to pull you back into old roles. Resist nothing. Just remain steady. Steadiness dissolves hidden agendas. Because there is nothing to push against. Nothing to manipulate. Nothing to control. You are not closing your heart. You are protecting your clarity. And clarity is what will guide your next step. Even before you consciously choose it. My beloved child. Now comes the quiet test. Not of your strength. But of your restraint. Because awareness invites temptation. The temptation to speak too soon. To reveal what you know. To watch reactions closely. But power grows in silence first. What is unfolding does not need your help. It is already moving. The person you trusted is watching you now. They are listening between your words, measuring your pauses, trying to understand what you know. They will test boundaries softly, with casual questions, with emotional stories, with reminders of shared history. Not out of love, but out of uncertainty. They are unsure where they stand with you. That uncertainty makes them restless. And restlessness creates mistakes. Mistakes reveal truth. Do not interrupt that process. Let it breathe. Let it unfold naturally. Because the clearest confirmations arrive uninvited. You will notice slips in consistency. Stories that slightly change. Timelines that no longer align. Reactions that feel exaggerated. Defensiveness where none is required. These are not accidents. They are pressure leaks. Truth always leaks under pressure. And pressure is building quietly. My beloved child. There is something important you must release. The urge to be understood by them. You do not need their acknowledgement. You do not need their admission. Closure does not come from confessions. It comes from clarity. And clarity is already yours. When you stop needing someone to validate your perception, you step into freedom. They may never admit what they did. They may rewrite history. They may minimize or shift blame. That does not change reality. It only confirms it. People who act with integrity do not fear reflection. They do not panic when questioned. They do not twist narratives. Notice who does. Notice who avoids directness. Notice who becomes emotional when facts appear. Emotion used as defense is still defense. You are learning discernment now. Not suspicion. Discernment is calm. It observes without accusation. It listens without absorbing. It sees patterns without chasing explanations. This skill will protect you far beyond this moment. Because not every lesson repeats with the same face. But the behavior is familiar. And now you recognize it. That recognition is irreversible. You cannot return to innocence once wisdom arrives. And you are not meant to. You are meant to mature. Gently. Firmly. My beloved child. As this awareness settles, something else shifts. Your tolerance for subtle disrespect decreases. Not angrily. Naturally. You will stop laughing at things that once made you uncomfortable. You will stop excusing actions that feel misaligned. You will stop shrinking to keep peace. This change may surprise even you. Because it happens without effort. When truth integrates, behavior adjusts on its own. You will choose differently. Respond differently. Invest differently. Some connections will feel strained. Not because you did something wrong. But because the dynamic relied on your silence. When silence ends, imbalance is exposed. Let it be. Do not rush to fix discomfort that is not yours. Discomfort is information. And information is valuable. You are stepping into a version of yourself that cannot be quietly crossed. Not because you are guarded, but because you are aware. Awareness changes posture, energy, presence. People sense it. Those with clear intentions will respect it. Those without will feel challenged by it. Either way, you win clarity. And clarity is what guides your next alignment. Not fear. Not doubt. Just truth, settling where confusion once lived. My beloved child. You may notice something unexpected now. A calm replacing urgency. A steadiness replacing doubt. That is because truth has anchored. Once anchored, it stops shaking you. Instead, it steadies you. You are no longer searching for signs. Signs are finding you. In tone. In timing. In who feels distant without explanation. And who suddenly tries to come closer. This is not coincidence. When your inner world realigns, outer dynamics adjust. Some people feel drawn to clarity. Others feel exposed by it. The person who acted behind your back feels the shift most. They sense you are no longer easy to read. No longer predictable. No longer quietly absorbing. That unsettles them. Because they relied on your consistency to hide their inconsistency. Now roles are reversing. They are cautious. You are calm. They are alert. You are grounded. They are wondering what you know. You are simply observing what is revealed. This balance favors you. Do not break it by explaining yourself. Explanation gives access. Silence keeps clarity intact. You are not being cold. You are being wise. Wisdom does not announce itself. It settles quietly. And changes outcomes without noise. My beloved child. This stage teaches you something rare. Not everyone who walks beside you walks with you. Some walk ahead to benefit. Some walk behind to monitor. Some walk beside only while it serves them. You are learning to feel alignment. Not force connection. Alignment feels easy. It does not drain. It does not confuse. It does not require constant justification. The connection you questioned required all three. That is why awareness arrived. Not to punish you, but to protect your future choices. Because where you are going next requires clean energy, clear intentions, unburdened trust. This revelation is not about loss. It is about refinement. You are refining access to your inner world. Who hears your plans? Who influences your emotions? Who stands close to your decisions? That refinement will change your life quietly. Because misaligned people lose proximity. Not through conflict, but through distance created by truth. Truth naturally rearranges relationships. It always has. It always will. You are simply witnessing it now. Do not feel guilty for outgrowing a dynamic. Growth does not ask permission. It happens when readiness meets awareness. And both are present now. My beloved child. As this message continues to fade, something solid remains. Self-trust. Not arrogance. Not suspicion. Self-trust. The kind that listens inward before reacting outward. The kind that no longer ignores discomfort. The kind that does not explain intuition away. This trust will guide you gently. You will sense when to step back, when to speak, when to disengage, when to let things end without drama. Not everything needs closure through conversation. Some things close through understanding. You have reached that understanding. That is why this feels final. Not dramatic. Final. The lesson has been learned. The pattern has been seen. And once seen, it cannot repeat in the same way. You are stepping forward lighter. Clearer. More defined. The person who crossed boundaries will feel the distance. But they will not understand it fully. Because clarity belongs to those who earn it. And you have earned yours. What comes next will feel quieter. But stronger. Less chaotic. More aligned. You did not lose anything valuable. You gained discernment. And discernment protects peace better than innocence ever could. My beloved child. This is where integration begins. Not the loud kind. The quiet kind. The kind that settles into your bones. You are no longer reacting to what happened. You are understanding what it taught you. And that shift is powerful. Because lessons fully learned stop repeating. You will notice your mind returning to moments from the past. Not to hurt you, but to complete them. You will suddenly see why certain delays occurred. Why some doors felt heavy. Why certain plans never fully moved forward. It was not resistance from life. It was protection through timing. Had things moved faster, this truth would have stayed hidden. And hidden things always demand a higher price later. You are being spared that cost. That is why this revelation came before your next step. Not after. The clarity you carry now is meant to walk with you forward. Not to keep you stuck looking back. You may feel moments of sadness. Not for the person, but for the version of you that tried harder than necessary. That sadness is compassion. Offer it to yourself. You did nothing wrong by loving sincerely. Sincerity is never a mistake. It only becomes dangerous when paired with unawareness. That is no longer the case. Your awareness has matured. And maturity brings calm authority. Authority that does not need approval. Authority that does not seek agreement. It simply knows. And moves accordingly. This is the foundation being laid now. My beloved child. From this point forward, your discernment sharpens naturally. You will feel quicker recognition. Shorter tolerance for inconsistency. Clearer internal signals. Not because you are guarded, but because you are aligned. Alignment reduces noise. When noise reduces, truth becomes obvious. You will notice how people respond to your steadiness. Some will relax around you. Because clarity feels safe to the sincere. Others will feel uneasy. Because clarity reflects what they avoid within themselves. That reaction is not your responsibility. You are not here to manage discomfort that clarity creates. You are here to honor what feels true. There is a difference. You will also realize something important. Not everyone deserves explanations. Explanations are earned through respect. You do not owe clarity to those who benefited from confusion. Your peace does not require their understanding. It only requires your honesty with yourself. That honesty is now non-negotiable. You will stop overthinking small interactions. Because you trust your inner response. You will stop chasing reassurance. Because certainty feels grounded. You will stop replaying conversations. Because you are no longer doubting your perception. This is the upgrade happening quietly. Not dramatic. Not announced. Integrated. Once integrated, it becomes part of how you move. And people will feel that difference. Even if they cannot name it. They will treat you differently. Or drift away. Both outcomes are alignment in motion. Nothing is being taken from you. Things are being filtered. And filtering creates space. My beloved child. That space is important. Because something new is approaching your life. Not rushed. Not forced. But intentional. It requires clarity to recognize it. And boundaries to sustain it. That is why this lesson arrived first. You are being prepared, not punished. Prepared to receive without suspicion. Prepared to connect without self-abandonment. Prepared to trust without blindness. This balance is rare. And it is earned through experiences like this. Do not rush to fill the space left behind. Let it breathe. Let it reset your expectations. Let it recalibrate what you allow near your heart. Soon, you will notice something subtle. Your decisions will feel easier. Your body will feel lighter. Your sleep deeper. Because inner conflict is resolving. Conflict was never about them. It was about your intuition being unheard. Now it is heard. And honored. That is why peace is returning. Not excitement. Peace. Peace is the signal of alignment. Excitement fades. Peace remains. You are stepping into a season where calm replaces chaos. Where clarity replaces questioning. Where discernment replaces doubt. This message does not linger because it has done its work. What stays with you is the strength it activated. You will walk forward differently now. Not suspicious. Not hardened. Aware. And awareness will guide you to what is meant to stay. And gently remove what is not. Without force. Without fear. Just truth, quietly leading the way. My beloved child. Now comes acceptance. Not agreement. Acceptance. There is a difference. Agreement says it was okay. Acceptance says it happened. And releases the weight of resisting reality. You are stepping into that release now. That is why your thoughts feel slower. More deliberate. Less reactive. You are no longer trying to fix what was never yours to fix. You are no longer carrying responsibility for someone else's choices. That burden has quietly fallen away. You may notice moments of unexpected clarity. Insights arriving without effort. Answers showing up without searching. That is alignment responding to honesty. When you stop lying to yourself, life stops confusing you. You will replay memories and notice how often you adjusted yourself. How often you softened truth. How often you stayed quiet to keep balance. That was not weakness. It was love without boundaries. Now boundaries are present. Not rigid. Not harsh. Clear. Clarity does not shout. It stands still. And lets others reveal how they approach it. The person who crossed your trust may try one last time to test access. Not directly. Subtly. Through nostalgia. Through shared memories. Through emotional cues. This is not connection. It is attachment seeking reassurance. You do not need to respond the way you once did. You are allowed to feel warmth without reopening doors. You are allowed to remember without returning. This is growth refined. And refinement always feels quieter than drama. My beloved child. There is something deeply important happening beneath the surface. Your self-respect is reorganizing your world. Not aggressively. Automatically. You will begin to choose environments that feel steady. Conversations that feel honest. People who do not require performance. You will lose interest in explaining yourself. Because alignment does not need justification. You may notice fewer words coming out of you. But more meaning behind them. Your presence will feel different. Grounded. Centered. People who once dominated space around you may feel unsure now. Because you are no longer filling gaps that were never yours. You are letting silence speak. And silence is revealing. Not everyone knows how to sit with it. Those who do will feel closer to you. Those who do not will drift. This is not loss. This is sorting. Life always sorts when truth enters the room. You are also learning that forgiveness does not require proximity. You can release resentment without reopening access. You can wish someone well without inviting them back into influence. That understanding brings peace. Not because everything makes sense. But because you stop demanding that it does. Some lessons do not explain themselves. They complete themselves. This one is completing now. And with completion comes space. Space to choose better. Not because you are afraid. But because you are aware. Awareness simplifies decisions. It removes urgency. And replaces it with intention. That intention will guide you gently forward. My beloved child. As this part settles, you may feel something surprising. Gratitude. Not for what happened. But for what it prevented. You were protected from deeper entanglement. From longer confusion. From greater cost. You were stopped before momentum carried you further into imbalance. That is mercy arriving disguised as discomfort. You may not fully appreciate it yet. But one day, you will look back and feel relief. Relief that you saw when you did. Relief that you listened when clarity arrived. Relief that you chose yourself quietly. This is the beginning of a new standard. Not spoken. Lived. You will no longer chase consistency from inconsistency. You will no longer explain intuition away. You will no longer stay where respect is conditional. This is not hardness. This is health. Healthy boundaries create healthy futures. And your future requires stability. Not emotional labor. Not constant adjustment. Stability comes from truth honored daily. That practice begins now. In small choices. In subtle shifts. In who you give access to. and who you quietly step back from. Nothing dramatic needs to happen. No final conversation. No confrontation. Distance created by clarity is enough. It always is. You are not closing a chapter in anger. You are closing it in understanding. That is why peace follows. Peace is not excitement. It is certainty without noise. And that certainty is now part of you. You will carry it forward. Into new spaces. New connections. New opportunities. With eyes open. Heart steady. And intuition trusted. This is how cycles end cleanly. Not with collapse. But with awareness. My beloved child. This is the quiet turning point. Not the end. The beginning of a different rhythm. You are no longer waiting for something to happen. Something has already happened within you. That inner shift will now guide outer choices. Without effort. Without forcing. You may notice how quickly you recognize misalignment now. A tone that feels off. A promise that feels thin. A situation that once excited you but now feels heavy. That is your clarity speaking. It does not shout. It nudges. And you listen. This listening changes outcomes before they form. You will walk away sooner. Pause earlier. Choose differently. Not because you are afraid of being hurt. But because you value peace more than potential chaos. That value system is new. And powerful. The person who once held influence no longer does. Not because they disappeared. But because your inner authority replaced external validation. Authority ends dependency. When dependency ends, manipulation has no ground. This is why you feel steadier now. Nothing is pulling at you anymore. No invisible tension. No unspoken confusion. Just presence. And presence is strength refined. My beloved child. You are also learning to release the need for fairness. Not justice. Fairness. Life is not fair. It is precise. It delivers lessons exactly where growth is possible. This experience sharpened your discernment. That is precision. Not punishment. You may notice your compassion deepening. But becoming more selective. You will care deeply. Without overextending. You will love sincerely. Without self-abandonment. This balance is rare. And it protects your future connections. People who enter your life now will meet a different version of you. One who listens. Observes. Responds with intention. They will not meet the version that explained discomfort away. That version has completed its purpose. You may feel moments of nostalgia. That is natural. Memories do not vanish when lessons complete. They soften. They lose their grip. You remember without being pulled back. That is healing in motion. And healing always feels quieter than pain. Do not confuse quiet with emptiness. Quiet is space making room for alignment. Alignment always brings something new. Even before you notice it. My beloved child. This awareness will continue working for you. In conversations. In decisions. In moments when you pause instead of rushing. You are no longer driven by urgency. Urgency belonged to confusion. Clarity moves slowly. Intentionally. And with purpose. You will feel drawn to stability now. Not excitement that fades. Not intensity that drains. But steadiness that sustains. That preference will shape your next chapter. Without effort. Without announcement. This is how growth looks in its mature form. Subtle. Grounded. Consistent. You are not becoming distant from life. You are becoming present in it. Presence allows you to see what truly belongs. And what does not. Nothing needs to be forced anymore. Not relationships. Not decisions. Not timing. When something is aligned, it stays. When it is not, it fades. You no longer chase what fades. You let it go. That ease is your reward. For listening. For trusting yourself. For allowing truth to arrive. Even when it was uncomfortable. This is the strength you carry forward now. Not hardened. Not guarded. Aware. And awareness will continue to protect you. Quietly. Consistently. Without needing another warning. My beloved child. This is where certainty settles fully. Not as an emotion. But as a posture. You will notice it in how you walk into rooms. In how you listen without absorbing. In how you respond without rushing. Nothing dramatic changes on the outside. Yet everything is different within. You are no longer scanning for danger. Because awareness has replaced anxiety. You are no longer proving your value. Because self-respect has replaced performance. The old pull toward explaining yourself fades. You realize something quietly powerful. People who truly respect you never required explanations. They felt alignment and stayed. Those who required constant reassurance were never aligned. They were attached to access. And access has now been refined. This refinement protects your energy. Your time. Your emotional space. You may feel moments of loneliness. Not because you lost connection. But because you outgrew noise. Silence feels unfamiliar at first. But soon, it becomes home. In that silence, your intuition speaks clearly. You hear yourself again. Not the voice shaped by others. Your own. That voice knows when to move. And when to wait. You are no longer afraid of waiting. Because waiting no longer feels empty. It feels intentional. And intention changes outcomes before action ever does. My beloved child. Something else becomes clear now. You were never meant to carry everyone with you. Some connections were temporary teachers. Not lifelong companions. Their role was to reveal boundaries. Not to cross the finish line with you. Understanding this releases resentment. Because expectations dissolve. You stop asking why they changed. Or why they acted the way they did. You understand that their behavior reflected their capacity. Not your worth. This understanding is liberating. It returns power gently back to you. You are no longer personalizing what was never personal. You are no longer revisiting conversations for hidden meaning. Because meaning has already surfaced. And it is simple. Clarity prefers simplicity. Confusion thrives in complexity. You choose simplicity now. In people. In words. In commitments. This choice narrows your circle. But strengthens it. Those who remain feel safe. Consistent. Grounded. You do not have to guess where you stand. There is no emotional guessing game. No shifting ground. Just presence. And mutual respect. This is the standard forming quietly. You do not announce it. You live it. Life responds to lived standards. Not spoken ones. That response is already unfolding. My beloved child. As this chapter completes, you may sense relief. Not excitement. Relief. Relief that you no longer have to ignore yourself. Relief that you trusted what surfaced. Relief that you chose clarity over comfort. Comfort would have kept you small. Clarity allows expansion. This expansion will not rush you. It will arrive steadily. With opportunities that feel calm. With connections that feel honest. with decisions that feel clear. You will notice how little effort alignment requires. How naturally things fall into place. Because resistance has been removed. You are not forcing outcomes anymore. You are allowing what fits to stay. And what does not to leave. That allowance creates flow. Flow feels peaceful. Not chaotic. Not urgent. Peace is the confirmation you are on the right path. Not excitement. Not intensity. Peace. Carry that forward. Let it guide your choices. Let it shape your boundaries. Let it protect your heart without closing it. You are not walking away from anything meant for you. You are walking toward yourself. And that direction never leads to regret. This message does not need to continue. Because the truth has already landed. What remains with you is discernment, self-trust, and calm authority. These will guide you quietly. Long after the moment passes. You are ready for what comes next. Not because you know everything. But because you trust yourself enough to listen. And that is more than enough. My beloved child. This is the moment where everything stabilizes. Not freezes. Stabilizes. You are no longer processing. You are integrating. Integration is quiet. It does not replay scenes. It does not argue with the past. It simply absorbs the lesson and moves forward. You will notice fewer emotional spikes now. Less curiosity about what they think. Less concern about how things appear. That detachment is not coldness. It is resolution. Resolution arrives when the mind and intuition finally agree. You no longer feel the need to revisit the story. Because the story has completed its purpose. You have extracted the wisdom. And wisdom does not linger in pain. It settles into posture. Into boundaries. Into standards that no longer need reminders. You are no longer available for subtle disrespect. Not because you are defensive. But because you are clear. Clarity quietly closes doors that confusion kept open. You will sense this closure as relief. As space. As steadiness. Nothing dramatic marks this moment. No announcement. No final scene. Just an internal click. Something locking into place. That click is self-alignment. Once aligned, you do not bend easily. Not because you are rigid. But because you know where you stand. My beloved child. You may notice how your reactions soften now. Not because you care less. But because you care wisely. You no longer rush to defend. Or explain. Or justify. Your calm becomes the response. And calm is disarming. People sense it. Some will respect it instantly. Others will feel uncomfortable around it. That discomfort is not yours to manage. You are no longer adjusting your truth to keep others comfortable. That chapter is over. From now on, comfort follows alignment. Not the other way around. You will also realize something subtle. You are no longer waiting for closure. Because clarity already gave it to you. Closure is not an event. It is an internal agreement to move on. You have made that agreement. Quietly. Firmly. Without resentment. That is why peace feels natural now. Not forced. Not fragile. Natural. You are also more present with yourself. You notice your needs earlier. Your limits sooner. Your intuition faster. That responsiveness changes your life in small ways. Small ways compound. They shape relationships. Decisions. Timing. You are no longer reacting to life. You are participating in it consciously. That shift changes outcomes without effort. Because conscious movement attracts aligned results. My beloved child. This is where trust returns. Not blind trust in others. Trust in yourself. You trust what you feel. What you notice. What resonates. You no longer override inner signals for external harmony. That harmony was never real. Real harmony begins inside. And you have restored it. This restoration prepares you for what comes next. Not something loud. Not something rushed. Something steady. Something respectful. Something that does not require you to shrink. Or question. Or overextend. You are now a person who notices early. Chooses calmly. And walks away without drama when something does not fit. That ability is strength refined. It protects your future without isolating you. You remain open. But discerning. Warm. But grounded. Kind. But not available to be crossed. This balance